All right, so to remove this, it's got some big tabs and little tabs. You don't want to use the little tabs, you want to use the big tabs. We're just going to hold the flywheel and tappy tap tap. It should spin right off. Hear the balls in it? You do not oil them. They need to be dry. Okay, so what you want to do is take a thin blade screwdriver and easily pry up on this part. See, there's some water in there. Seal feels pretty good. That's mainly to keep the dirt out of here. So now I'm just going to wipe everything down real good, may spray some brake clean on everything, and then we just put it back together. All right, so I got things cleaned up, and as I suspected, there was a piece of felt that I dug out of here. So yeah, this is an oil hole. Goes all the way through. And what that does is that felt, you oil it. I use 3-in-1 oil. So when it's on this shaft and you start it, but then this stops and the flywheel keeps spinning, so that banshee howl, it's real scream more or less, is caused by friction right here. So this little guy looks pretty saturated, so what I'm going to do is create a new one out of some gauze sponge, and then we'll just put this back together. Yeah, I tried scissors, that didn't work, but I've got a hole punch here that is exactly the same size. So what we're going to do is just kind of make us one. Sorry for the loud noise. Still didn't go. Loud noise. I do believe we have something. Let me fish it out of here. All right, we are at about the same thickness, so I'm just going to push this down into here. And I'm going to use the shaft on the mower to push it in, that way it stays square. All right, I put a little bit more in there because it was still loose on the shaft. We'll go ahead and saturate that with some 3-in-1 oil. We don't want it on this part. And let me check it. So yeah, you can actually see the cotton right there now. So last step is we reinstall the BBs and the top cover, and it's ready to go back on. And I'll do a couple taps just to seat it. Nothing hard. And then put the screen back on it. Oh, yeah, that feels much better. Find the holes. And let me just screw that down. Okay, so the way I adjust the coil gap, I leave it loose, and the magnet is over here on this side right now. Okay, I take a sheet of paper and fold it in half, and then we run it down between the flywheel and the coil. Jiggle a little bit here, get it in there. Okay, then we bring the magnet around and it will pull the coil up, and then we just take and snug the coil down right where it's at. And then we spin back around to remove the paper. And then what you want to do is turn it all the way around and make sure it's not hitting anything. Oh, this little thing's got some compression still. So that's how I do it. That's my half paper method. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is install the gas tank and carburetor. I've got the governor spring hooked up already, and what you want to do is before you take it apart, take a picture of how it goes back together. Yeah, it's a very simple linkage, and so the only thing I got to do now is finagle that little clip into that hole there. Okay, so we got that spacer and that bolt installed. A pair of long needle nose really helps to hold that in while you get the bolt in. And then over here, we just have the one bolt here. So based on the governor hookup, very simple governor on these. So basically, when you give it more throttle, this governor, as the engine speeds up, it gets more air flow and it pushes on this vane. And as you can see down there, the harder it pushes on the vane, the slower the engine goes. But when the engine slows down, then the vane will open up, and that's basically the governor. Now the funny thing about these governors, if you mow when it's very windy, the engine will, the air gets in here and fluctuates. So yeah, that's the only downside I found of these governors. But yeah, it's all hooked back up, and I guess I'm going to reroute this kill wire, probably run it down through here so the cover doesn't interfere with it. And we're going to leave the top cover off until I get it running, add oil and gas to it, because that way I can use this socket I made. I put a carriage bolt in it, and then what I do is I hook it up to the electric drill and use it to spin the engine. And then obviously when the engine starts, you won't get a kickback. So so I'll use this to initially start the engine, get everything to where it's running good. And when I say running good, based on the carburetor, there are no adjustments. So it's either going to run good or it's not. I'm betting it's going to run good. I've had this little engine so long, and it's never really let me down. But it definitely needed some TLC before I put it back on. Okay, I pulled the spark plug out, and it actually looks pretty good. It's not too carboned up. And I checked the gap, and it's set at what is it set to? 0.30. Yeah, so that sounds about right to me. Unfortunately, I wanted to go look at the bore, and yeah, my camera thingy's messing up. Yeah, that is not good. Something ain't right with it, and besides, it won't fit in the hole. So yeah, something's going on with the camera thingy. I don't know, it might be a low battery. Anyhow, that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, we're pretty much done with this and ready to install it. Okay, I got it right on the full mark with oil, got half a tank of gas. I've already primed the bulb. Yeah, I'm not getting spark or something. It'll be this switch. Yeah, I see fuel now. Yeah, I'm not getting spark. So yeah, that thing's really loose. Let me tighten it up. Okay, it's tighter. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I guess I'm pulling the plug now. All right, different plug. Let's see if I got spark. No, I guess I'm gonna have to see if I got a coil pack now. Well, I'm gonna call it quits for tonight. And then tomorrow, these are all my single cylinder coil packs. I've got some twins back there. I've got some, I think these came out of weed eaters. That one needs points. But yeah, we're going to go through all these and see if I got a coil that's going to work. Thanks for watching.